Since 2012, 2013, the start of the Potso ownership, Watford have had 14, by the way, 14 permanent managers. Claudio Ranieri lasted just 112 days in the job, and Roy Hodgson is the current frontrunner to take over at Vicarage Road. Stuart, I'll come to you first if I may. Regardless of people's opinions on jobs, and we've all got opinions on managers and results, and that can't be healthy, that amount of managers, surely.
Listen, it's a lot of managers. It's a massive turnover for any football club, I think. And normally the stability, if I look at the reflection directly at West Ham at the moment, with the stability that probably Moyes has offered, the team and the football club, Watford's always been a sort of family club. I go back to the Graham Taylor era, and he developed the club and built the club and grew the club, and it was a really tight club, family club, that type of thing. But I think, as I heard one or two of the boys say there, when you go into Watford as a manager, I think you know that if any results go slightly rocky, then there's going to be a change of figurehead at any given time. Now, whether that's healthy or whether it's not, I don't know. That's how they work at that football club, so it's not for me to judge in many ways. The
one thing I would say, Pierce, I think we've all been about the game enough, looking at that performance that the Watford gave on Friday night at home to Norwich. I think, I don't like to use the word inevitable, but put it this way, it was absolutely no surprise that Ranieri had lost his job. Yeah,
I was at the game on Friday evening, and to be fair, Norwich come out and really started the game really well. I've got to say, were fantastic in the game, and then Watford come into it sort of back end of the first half, and I thought to myself, it was one of these games, Ali, to be honest with you, whoever scored first would probably go on and win the game, to be honest. But the longer the game went on, as soon as Norwich got the goal, you knew then that probably they were going to be the victorious side, and as I say, Watford having a player sent off as well didn't help the situation.
Benny, tell me, from a player's point of view, I know you've been at a club where managers have changed kind of on a regular basis. What effect do you think it has on the playing staff?
Well, to be fair, the two times I had that, both times I got relegated. Because I had it at Charlton at first, when we had appointed Ian Dowie after Alan Kirbysley left. He got the sack, then Les Reed took over, he got the sack, and then they brought in Pardew. So that was three. And then at Fulham, Martin Jol, Rennie Murestein, then Felix Magath. And it just didn't work. I mean, the Fulham one was crazy because from a plan perspective, I remember it was Alan Kirbysley was overseeing the whole thing as well. So the logical thing is when Martin Jol went and then Rennie went, was just to give it to Kirbysley, let him kind of just see it out at the end of the season. They opted for Felix Magath, which just didn't work at all. So it was a little bit unsettling because we obviously all know Martin Jol, he's kind of philosophy on football. Then you had Rennie Murestein, which was kind of the same, but then Felix Magath was just completely different in the way he saw things in terms of recovery. If he didn't play well on a Saturday, training on a Sunday, and he lost the dressing room, if I'm honest, relatively quickly, Felix Magath, because a lot of the senior players, we had people like Scott Parker in the dressing room, Steve Sidwell, Breda Hangelang, just weren't buying, John Arnorisa just weren't buying into his philosophy of football because it just wasn't what they were used to. So it can be unsettling for the players.
Right, we've touched on it there. You've mentioned that they kind of went left field a little bit and going to get Felix Magath, and it didn't work for them. By token of you saying that, can you understand then why Watford would look to somebody like Roy Hodgson?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
safe pair of hands. Yeah. As I said, you look at what he did at Crystal Palace, he made them a stable Premier League side. As I said, the last couple of seasons maybe weren't the most pleasing on the eye, but when you look at them now, I mean, of course, they're playing some really good stuff. Even though they're sitting 13th, by the way, under Vieira, you'd say that it's been more exciting to watch. But Watford, that's a football club that needs stability. And if ever there was a manager out there that could do that for them, it's definitely Roy Hodgson. But as I said, I thought his next job would have been to oversee at a football club. But the fact that he wants to jump into that pressure cooker again, tough.
I think it might be a situation that I've no idea what contractually that they're going to look at Roy, but I think Watford at this moment in time are probably looking to someone to keep them in the Premier League and get them to the summer.
Can they do it, Piercy, do you think? Well, it's a tough ask. I mean, it's changing every week. I'll hold my hands up right now. I mean, I've had Norwich down since
big time.
Right, I had them away, right, and Dean Smith is starting to get a tune out of them, so I'm holding my hands up. Newcastle, I've had Newcastle down as well, but they look as though they maybe get one or two and that might just get enough to keep them up. So
yeah, it's almost like a 400-metre race. The lanes are staggered at the moment. We look at ourselves in 5th place at the moment, and there's teams that have got 2 and 3 games in hand on us, and I don't think it's until the stagger unwinds. And at the bottom of the league, Burnley only played 18 games. Win a couple of games, all of a sudden they look as though that they're away from the trouble. But then there's question marks maybe on Brentford, that have not picked up a couple of results. Everton not picking up results.
It's funny because in normal circumstances, lads, you know what it's like. I'm looking at that Burnley result and you're thinking, that's a great result, actually. Picking up a draw, picking up, the Emirates, good result for them.
But it's funny because you're right. Other than Watford, Burnley get that point, but all the others win.
Yeah,
so it's like, but even Watford, where they are now, they've not been great. One win and results go their way, they jump back out of the bottom 3.
Yeah.
So it's.
I was going to say, and that's another thing, Pierce. I think you play Watford. It's early February
on the 8th. Yeah, our next game in the Premier League's Watford.
Is that right? There you are.
Yeah.
So there you are. Here's a question for you. And I know it can work both ways, different ways. Is it a good time to play them when they change their managers? It just depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, you really don't know, to be quite honest with you. Prior to playing us, they've got Burnley, and now that
I'm sitting back for that one.
Exactly that. These head-to-heads are going to be so vital. Newcastle with Leeds at the weekend, the head-to-heads between teams in that area of the pitch.
See, it's an interesting one, Piercy. I think when we look at Newcastle's signing of Big Chris for Burnley, I'm thinking to myself, good signing, but what it does effectively, it might even be a better signing by the fact it weakens Burnley.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? I remember Kevin Keegan said to me, the way to have the biggest house in the road is to knock all the others down potentially, as well as building your own up, and that's very much the point in case. Certainly with that signing, it sent a message out in many ways.
Okay, boys, plenty to talk about. It's 8:14. We'll take a short break. Please stay with us.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.